I know this is supposed to be an Introduction to Unity course, and we are going to do Introduction to Unity, so you're probably wondering why I'm in Blender. It's because everything starts here. We'll be here for like 5 whole seconds. So once you get your beautiful model finished, all your weight painting is good, your hair is good, you're like, wow, this is awesome, I am amazing, I need to get it into Unity. How do I do that? You're going to come up here to File, you're going to go to Export, and you want to export as an FBX file. Come over here on the side, you want to come to this section that says Transform. Apply Scalings, you want to change that to FBX Units. And then scroll down a little bit more to Armature. And this setting that says add leaf bones will add end bones, so it will add a lot of extra bones to your model if you don't check it off. We don't want that. And then export it to whatever place that you want to use it. And that's it for Blender. Give it a second to export. Yes, I would like to save. Beautiful. Now we're going to go into Creator Companion. It is 2023. If you are not using Creator Companion for your Unity packages, you are wrong, and you're a masochist. So what we're going to do, you have your Unity project open, you're going to create a new project. So I'm going to call this one Monsuda V2. Full. You want to click this button that says Avatar Project and create project, and then you give it just a second. So it's going to open up this. This is all of your packages. The important packages for your average everyday creator is going to be GestureManager. This lets you test all of your toggles and stuff inside of Unity, so you don't have to upload every 5 seconds. And then Avatar's 3.0 Manager will let you, if you're bringing in prefabs that already have like FX layers and menus, we don't have time to do all of that manually. That takes too damn long, so we are going to use 3.0 Manager to put it in. AV3 Emulator is still in here as a default package. In my experience, AV3 Emulator is broken. I don't know if they fixed it, but we're not going to check. And then for me, I'm going to go ahead and turn on VRC Fury. I can explain that later if you guys would like to know. I am still learning it myself. So once you have everything checked and it has a little red circle next to it, that means it is in your package. Check your SDK, make sure your SDK is good, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to open project. This part takes a second. This is how they are going to come in. When you bring them in from Blender, they will have all of their stuff on. Everything will be blue. When the lovely Foxy sent me these over, she did throw some of our shaders and materials on here just to see what they would look like, but they are not finished. So for metals, we have a pre-made metal package that we have perfected, and we just save it as a prefab and pull it in at the beginning of the project. So let's say that this model doesn't exist. They're not here. This is a brand new Unity scene. So we just uploaded it. So what we're going to do is as soon as the model comes in, they're going to come in down here as an FBX. It's going to look like this. So the very first thing we need to do before we worry about anything up here is click on the model, and when it comes in right here, it's going to say generic. It'll say animation type generic. So we want to switch that over to humanoid, give it a second, and this little configure button right here will pop up. When the configure button pops up, you want to go ahead and click it and then give it just a second, and you will get this screen. So you will see all of the green bones and all of the goodies and everything else. So this is the stuff that we care about. So you want to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. If it has these little dotted lines next to it and not a solid circle, that means it's an optional bone. So if your model does not have an upper chest bone, then there doesn't need to be anything there. Most VRChat models are going to have shoulders and stuff, all of that. We're going to ignore all that part. For me personally, a secret that I like to do, because now a lot of people are using OVR, is I will come in here and remove the toe bones. So when they light up, they'll say left toe, right toe. I will just click on them over here and type in none and double click it, and then they'll go away. So what that does is when people OVR themselves up and down, their toes don't bend down all funny. And then if you are using I know the Zenpia Most of her heads have jawbones. You want to come up here and click where it says head and come down here and remove this. If you have a VRChat model, if you are making a model for VRChat purposes, you do not want a jawbone. It will ruin your gestures. Once all of that is done, I like to come down to pose. Just click Enforce T-Pose just to be safe. Hit apply. There it goes. Alright. Once everything pops up like this, you'll see the done button. Everything else will turn dark gray. The done button will light up. You just click done. And then you'll be back here. And then from here, again, this won't be up here. What you're going to do is grab this FBX right here that you just configured. So it should say humanoid, create from this model, standard 4 bones. This is all the stuff that you want. You want to grab that FBX and drag it to the gray box up here. Do not drag it up here. When you drag it over here, this is called your hierarchy. So from now on, when I say your hierarchy, this is what I'm talking about. You will see him 0 out. So position 0, 0, 0, rotation 0, 0, 0, scale 1, 1, 1. Have you ever brought in an item and you don't drag it over here first? Sometimes the scale will say 100. If you don't do the FBX units from Blender, even if you bring it over here, sometimes it'll say scale 100. We don't want all of that. VRChat likes a scale of 1. So, this is where we're at. We brought this beautiful gentleman in. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this clone, and we're going to go back to this package. So,
would you put his skybox in for the prettiness, please? And thank you.
Yep.
First, you might have to turn on your skybox. It looks like it's disabled.
I think I disabled it for...
It should be those. It looks like a flat landscape, kinda.
No, that's the grid.
No,
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what your Unity should look like. I had my skybox turned off. So we're going to come to Windows.
And Bustet's scene should also be in there. It's just not currently up because hers was the secondary scene.
So if you want to change your skybox, I'm going to go over this super quick because this is not important. You don't have to do this. You're going to go to Window, Rendering, Lighting Settings. It'll say something about a skybox over here. And you're just going to...
Nope. One more over.
Oh, yep. And then you're just going to grab the skybox and drag it on up there. And look at this. They are in the desert as they belong because these are Egyptian gods. Now we are going to go to, this is Anubis. We're going to go to his folder. Fox already did a bunch of the work for me. So when you come in, you're going to have your Poyomi shader, you're going to see editor, and then your FBX. What we like to do is right click, create, make a folder, and call it, if I was just working on this one, I would call it Anubis. So it would look like this. I like to put exclamation points in front of them because if you do that in alphabetical order, it pulls it all the way to the top of the list so you cannot lose it. This is a very important thing to do because when you are pulling textures in, they have a lot of stuff that goes with them. You're going to have normal maps. Here we go. Here's all of his hair. These are all hair photos.
Oh, no, that's just the secondary hair for his locks. That's not even the primary hair. The primary hair is not in his folder because that's a shared texture file. If you want to open the regular hair section.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to make these subfolders. I'm not going to dive on that too long. So, I was saying about your moving around. So, you're going to use your right click to look around like this. Middle mouse will let you go side to side, up and down. Or, my favorite thing is you can hold down your middle mouse and use WSAD and you can move around like you're in a video game. So you can move anywhere you want, WSAD. If you're moving a little fast, you can scroll your middle mouse button and it will put these little X's up and that is your speed. So let's go to 0.1. I need to be a little slower than that maybe. Let's do a 0.6. See, nice and slow. We're going to get in there. So we're going to start on his ears. We're going to get up on there real close. And we want Anubis pierced ears should be his. Yep. Cool. So Fox has done all the organizational work for me. Here are his base textures. So when they come in, a lot of stuff is going to have an alpha. We don't need We don't need that. You're going to need base colors. This purple guy is called a normal map. You're definitely going to need a normal map if your object comes with a normal map. So what we're going to do, we're going to come over here to this blank space. We're going to right click. We're going to go to create. We're going to come down here to material. Now, it's going to pull up your standard VRChat standard shaders. You can use standard shaders. Standard shaders are mostly used for like questies and stuff. I haven't gotten there yet. We're going to make things pretty today. So we're going to click that drop down, go to Poyomi, and I recommend 8.1. It's what we use on all of our models. And then ignore all of this extra stuff. We have Poyomi Pro, so we have more options, but you want Poyomi Tune. And it's going to give you this. So you're going to come right here to this top one, color and normals, and drop that down. So you have a texture, you have a normal map, and you have an alpha. So which one of these is his main? I think that one. So we're going to grab this one, and we're going to drag it to texture. And then we're going to grab this purple guy, and we're going to put him in normal. So normal goes to normal, alpha goes to alpha. And then let's go ahead and put them on. If you wanted to, you could leave it like this, but again, we make things pretty around here. Y'all are here to learn how to make things pretty, not just how to do things. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to go to the shading tab. We're going to drop it down. It's a bunch of settings. It looks overwhelming. That is fine. We only care for basic materials about 4 sections here. So you want your rim lighting. So we're going to turn that on. You want depth rim lighting, reflections and specular, and environmental rim lighting. Environmental rim lighting, in my opinion, is one of the most important settings to turn on. If you've ever seen models that when you go into dark worlds, they glow in the dark, we don't like glowing in the dark. This will let them actually react to the world lighting as well.
Which makes them a bit more realistic and keeps your immersion intact in-game.
Yep, so we're going to drop down rim lighting. Again, very overwhelming, lots of settings, that's why I'm here. So the trick that I do is there's a setting right here called blend mode. If you are working with darker textures, browns, blacks, stuff like that, you want to leave it on add. If you're working with lighter colors like red or white especially, you want to switch that to multiply. So essentially that will change it. See how dark that is? That's not going to look good on black ears. And then we're going to come to rim color. And then for him, I like this inner ear color, this kind of brownish. I think that'd be a pretty rim lighting color. So we're going to try to find him kind of a nice brownish color. And then we're going to turn the sharpness almost all the way down. And this rim color, or this rim width, I like to bring up a little bit. You just experiment with what looks good. I like right there. I think that looks pretty. We're going to go with that. Right now they're super shiny. We don't like super shiny, but we're going to get there. So I like to click on the color. There's a hexadecimal code here. I will always copy that code because I have the memory of a goldfish. And then we're going to come to the next setting, your depth rim lighting. The only thing you have to do in here is click rim color, click there, copy and paste that number in, and you're done there. Reflections and specular. This is where you can play with these settings a little bit. Our generic settings are 0.5, so reflection strength, specular strength, your metallic, and your smoothness, all put at 0.5.
It is important to note that you do not need reflections and specular on every single material though. Use common sense on whether or not that material is gonna be shiny and reflective.
Yeah, so what I like to do, like with his ears, we don't really want his ears to be super shiny because they're like made out of fur a little bit. So we're going to turn that smoothness down just a little bit.
Make sure you get them on trans clipping or cut out so that that floof starts to show.
Oh, yep. I forgot about that. Thank you, babe. Anytime that you are using an alpha map, there are 2 settings right here in your rendering preset. If you are going to make a dissolve toggle, which I'm not talking about in this video, that is more advanced, but I will get to at some point. You will click here. If you're using a dissolve toggle, you have to be on cutout, but if you are not, then you can just come right here to trans clipping. Oh. Alright, here we go. Anyway. So I put it on cutout. Cutouts are usually a safe bet. Let's just say for the sake of this video, put everything on cutout. Cool. So come down here, we'll play with these settings a little bit. Your reflection tint, you want it to be whatever your rim lighting is, in my experience. That is going to be when the light hits it, what color does it reflect? And then specular, most of the time, I just use the same color. Some stuff you can change these numbers up. You can play with these colors a little bit and see what you like, but for the most part, you are good. And then environmental rim lighting, we are not going to touch anything here. The default settings are fine for 99.9% of your applications. So now, do you see how he has just a little bit of shine? They don't look like they are super, super glossy. That's what we want. So, you don't really get to see the beauty of how good those look, so I will do one more quick material, but I'm going to do it on his body. What I'm doing now, if you ever want to know, if you ever want to hide things while you're doing your materials, you can either come over here and this little eyeball will pop up, or you can click it. When it gets highlighted in orange, tap H, like hotel, on your keyboard, and that will hide it for you. Make sure that it is highlighted in orange. There we go. That works for me. So what we're going to do so that you can see the beauty and importance of the materials, I will breeze through one more just so you can see what it looks like. We want head and body. Jokes on us, we're just kidding. You learned about the ears. If you have any more questions, feel free to join my Discord. I will post a link in the bio, and ask us questions there. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next section. If you hide things over here, that only hides them while you're in Unity. If you upload them, if you hide them while you're in Unity, when you export them or upload them to the game, all of this stuff is going to be visible. So what we're going to do is come over here. I'm going to unhide everything, and we're going to go through and figure out what we want to have as his default outfit. That should be good. So all I did here, again, sorry if I zoom through things. If you want to click multiple things and edit multiple things at once, you can just control click over here on the left in your hierarchy. And what we're going to do is move to the other side of the screen. This is your inspector. Anytime I mention go to the inspector tab, this is what I'm talking about. So all we're going to do is click this button right here and turn it off. So what that'll look like normally is, let's say I click his face chain, it will say accessories face chain. It'll say whatever you have it named out over here. What material does it use? If you want to adjust the materials once we change materials, but we're not doing that right now, the material will show up here and you can edit it there. I like to do this because it makes my life a little bit easier so that I know what we're going to put on them by default. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. So I will talk really, really nice and slow to make sure that I'm not getting ahead of people. Please feel free to ping me in the side chat if you need me to slow down and explain anything, because this is where precision matters. We do not adjust the settings that I'm going to teach you because things like to break. We're going to come into Anubis. I'm going to right click. We're going to create a folder right here, folder, and I'm going to call this menus. Cool. And then we're going to go in there. So we're going to right click in here, create VRChat. You want to go to avatars. You want to add in expressions parameters. So I'm going to call this Anubis para. And then we're going to right click again, create VRChat, avatars, expressions menu, and I'm going to call this Anubis main. Cool. So this is your main menu and your main parameters menu. What we're going to do now is come over here in your hierarchy, and you're going to click the main folder right here. This is Anubis, or whatever your model name is called, and it's going to show you this screen again. What we need to do from here is click add component. We're going to add in an avatar descriptor. You have to have an avatar descriptor for VRChat. So it's going to give you these colliders. These are your VRChat colliders. Well, you can adjust those, but I don't ever adjust them. Don't worry about it. Lip sync, we want lip sync to be on. You can click auto detect. If it says something about jaw flap blend shape, we don't want that. You want to click this drop down, and you want to come to Visimi blend shape, or Visemes, depending on how you want to pronounce it. You're going to click that. And then if it shows you nothing over here, or if it says body, we don't like that. We're going to grab our head. We're going to drag our head in. And this is what you want to see. If you see all these things that say VRC in front of them, you are done with lip sync. Close that. I like to turn on. The settings that I use are calm and confident. You can drop your eye bones in here if you want your avatar to look around. If you don't want your avatar to look around, don't worry about this. That part's not super important. Playable layers, we definitely want playable layers. And then we want expressions. So you're going to click customize, and that's going to give you all of this. This is what we want to look at. We're going to come here to menu. You can either click here and type in Anubis main. You can do it that way, or you can come right here and click and drag. So Anubis main is going to go on the menu spot. Anubis para is going to go on the parameter spot. And we need an FX layer. So we're going to right click, create, and then we're going to come down here. You want an animator controller. And I'm going to call this Anubis FX. And then we're going to go back over here to the inspector tab and see right here where it says FX. We're going to click that and we're going to drag that boy in there. Cool. Now we're ready to start creating some toggles. I already know the first question you're getting ready to ask me is, but I want Gogo on my avatar. So I'll go ahead and explain that since I'm already in the menu. It is pretty much a drag and drop. So you're going to do base, additive, and action. We don't touch gesture layer. Every time that I've tried to use the gesture layer for VRChat, I don't know if they fixed it. I don't know. I don't care. It breaks your shit. Don't break your shit. Don't use it. So I use Beyond. So we're going to click the little plus sign again. I'm going to type in Beyond. So we want Go Loco Base WD. So unless you are an advanced Unity user, and if you're an advanced Unity user, why are you in my class? We are going to use right defaults on, which is going to be your WD. So click additive, we add additive, WD. Your action, we type in action, WD. And then sitting, you guessed it, WD. And then we're going to come up to our tools. Hopefully you caught my thing earlier and you brought in your GestureManager. I mean, not GestureManager, AB3, as soon as I figure out where it hid it from me at. No, it did not get brought in. So here's what we're going to do. This is why I said it's important. We're going to click GestureManager, and we want 3.0 Manager. Very, very important stuff. All right, so what we're going to do is come up here to your toolbar, and you're going to look for one that says VR Labs. You're going to click Avatars 3.0 Manager, and it's going to give you this little pop-up here. So anytime that you pull in a prefab that has animations already made, if it's a sword, if it is a whatever, if it has animations already made, you're going to use AV3 Manager. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag his whole file right here into where it says avatar. The only thing that we need to do for Gogo Loco to work is we're going to drop down FX. There's a button that says add animator to merge. We're going to click that, click the plus sign. We like to use Go Loco Beyond. It has the most features and it's not broken. So we're going to use, again, WD. It's going to give you all of these things. And then you're going to click merge on current. And then you're going to click these three drop down bars here. That is your parameters. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click go beyond parameters.
Don't ask questions. It is a very old emoji. Don't ask questions.
And then we're going to click copy. And you have one quick little extra step. We're going to come over here to his main menu. We're going to double click it. And it's going to give you this. You're going to add a control. Drop that down. And we're going to call that Gogo. Change your type to a submenu. And then come down here to submenu. And we're going to type in beyond. And you can either put main menu or go beyond menu. So we're going to go ahead and do go beyond menu. And congratulations, you are installing Gogo. You have installed Gogo. So now let's make an animation. I'm going to walk you guys through the manual way of making animations, the way that I like to do them. If you saw in my description, I can show you guys how to use the avatar creator program. I just drew a blank on what it's called. All right, it's called AV3 Creator. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in just so that I can show you guys how to use it. This program is absolutely amazing. I think the base version is like 10 bucks. The supporter version is 20. If you are going to be making avatars more than like one or two, I highly recommend it. I have some other programs that are listed. The Toggle Assistant. The Toggle Assistant can only do on and off toggles, but the AV3 Creator is significantly better. I can post a link, or I'll pull it up on the screen at the end and show you the tools that I like to use. So we're going to make an animation manually first, just in case you are poor like us, or you just want to add something to a model that you bought from your favorite creator. If you buy one of our models and you're like, hey, I really want to add in some demon wings, you put them on. Here's how we do it. So the first thing we're going to do is come to your parameters menu that you made, and you're going to come up here to the top, and you're going to click add. So what do we want to do first? Let's do his mask, right? So let's do his mask. So we're going to call this mask for on and off toggles, which is pretty much what we're going to be doing in the beginning. I'll show you guys how to do an integer system next. We're going to use a bool, and for your parameters, that's all you have to do there. My recommendation, if you have a memory of a goldfish, is highlight this parameter you just added, Control C. We're going to copy it, and then we're going to come back over here, and then we want to go to his FX layer that we made. And your FX layer is going to look like this. You're going to come over here to parameters. You're going to click add. Remember that was a bool, and Control V. It is called mask. Then we're going to come to layers. We're going to add a layer. We can just call that mask as well. Very, very important thing. I did it so many times. I want to make sure I put it in this video. Come right here, click this little gear, grab this guy that says wait, drag him to the right. For whatever reason, this is not on by default, but your toggles will not work if that wait is not turned on. I think it's stupid. They should have fixed it, but here we are. We're just slaves to the system. Now, let's actually make the animation. You can do this one of two ways. Me and Fox have different systems. What Fox likes to do is grab this guy and hit Control D and make a duplicate of him. Or what I like to do, because it's easier for me, is come up here, click on him, highlight him, come up here and click play. My screen turns blue so that I know that if I am in play mode. I could show you guys how to do that. If you're, again, memory of a goldfish. When you are in play mode, any changes that you make to your avatar will not save. That's why we like play mode. So we come into play mode, we come down here to animation. If this window is not showing up, you can come up here to window, you can go to animation, and you can go to animation here. We come here, make sure it says to begin animating whatever your model name is, create an animation clip. We're going to create a clip. I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder because I like folders. Call that Annie's for animations because I'm lazy. I don't want to type. And we're going to call this mask. Going to put him in what we call motorcycle pose. So this is the reason you want to be in play mode, because if you make the animations directly onto your model without being in play mode or having a duplicate, your model can get stuck in this position. There are ways to get them unstuck, but it is a hit or miss and it is a pain. What we're going to do, you can do it one of two ways. The long method is you can click add property, give it 10 days to pull up. You can come right here to Anuva set mask. You can click is active. That takes too much time. None of us have time for that. We're avatar creators. What I like to do is when you're not in blue mode, there's a red record button right here. I push the red record button. Now it is recording every change that I make to him to the animation layer. So we're going to come over here and we're going to find his mask. We click it and we're going to click that button right there. See how it gives us these two beautiful dots? That's what we want to see. And here's an important thing for the way that I do animation so that you only have to make it one time. We're going to hit that record button again to stop the recording. We're going to come up right here some numbers. This says 005. You can do it wherever you want, but I like to come to 005. Move that line over, push record again, and push that button again. Now, in this animation, we now have an on and an off. We're going to come out of play mode, and then we're going to go back to his FX layer. Do you remember that layer that we made earlier called mask? Now we go to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this here, this little triangle. This is your animation. First thing we want to do is come up here and turn off loop time. For this way of doing animations, you do not want loop time on. And then you're going to pull him up and pull him up again. The way the animation works is the first set of dots was on and the second set of dots was off. So we want them to be off by default. So we're going to leave this guy alone. This guy, we want to come right here to speed. So we're going to change that speed to -1. That will tell Unity and VRChat to play that animation backwards so it plays to the on toggle. So we're going to go from orange to gray. You're going to click make transition, orange to gray, and then gray, make transition to orange. So that is a transition to and a transition from. We're going to click the transition from orange to gray. Again, bunch of scary settings. We don't care about all of those. We want to drop those in the settings, and we want to turn fixed duration off, turn off your transition duration, and turn off exit time. I don't like exit time myself. Then we're going to come here to conditions. We're going to click this little plus sign, and we're going to find that parameter that we made. It is called mask. So what you want is this orange guy is your default layer. It is what the game will default to as soon as your model loads. And you want to make it so that when you click the menu button, it is considered true. It will go to this animation, which is going to be true. And then what we're going to do is come right here to transitions, and we're going to right click that, copy transition parameters, and then we're going to go from gray to black, and we're going to click there again and paste both. What that does is that's going to set all of this stuff up for you, put your condition in here. The only thing you have to do now is click false. For the sake of this video, I'm going to put it in the main menu, but you can do these submenus. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it the right way. So we're going to do this. So we're going to create VRChat, avatars, expressions menu. We're going to call this clothing because we like our menus to be nice. Clothing. This is a submenu. Actually, no, we're going to call this one accessories because we did his mask first. Accessories, submenu, and we're just going to drag that guy over there. So now you're going to go to that menu that you just created. This is my accessories menu. We're going to add a control, mask. This is going to be a toggle, parameter, mask, bool. Now, let's see if it works, right? So remember I told y'all earlier that the GestureManager is your best friend. You're going to go to Tools. We're going to click GestureManager. When you're highlighted on GestureManager, it's going to give you this screen. We're going to click Play Mode. What this does is this gives you your radial menu. It shows you how you're going to interact when you're in game. So we're going to go to Expressions, Accessories, Mask. Look at that. We made ourselves an on and off toggle. We are going to use a V3 creator. The version that I'm using is the full supporter version. It is $20. It has a few extra settings. So what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to drag him over, output directory. We're going to click auto select and then settings. If you're using the full version like I have, there's a setting in here. It is already turned off that says wait for avatar load. We always turn that off. It breaks things. The $20 version is a beta, so there are some features that are a little wonky. What we're going to do is we're going to click add. Let's do the next down the list. So let's do his corset, right? So we're going to click corset or type in corset, drop down modules, add module, simple toggle, add, and it's going to ask you what your game object that you want to toggle is. So we're going to drag over corset, right? And then it's going to ask you what menu that you want it in. Do I have that set up? So we're going to have it create a new menu for us, and we're going to call this, we'll put it in accessories.
With AV3, you set up your own menu and submenu layout, and it will provide a drop down of those menus for you to choose where you're going to output all of this information.
Yep, so when you're using the $20 version, you can do it individually for each toggle. For the $10 version, which is what I would recommend for your average everyday Unity user, this one is fine. You just do one menu at a time. So you can have it create a new menu and it will put it into your main menu, or you can uncheck that and drag it in. So I'm going to put the corset in the accessories menu. So you want to have everything done here. Toggle corset, boom, corset. It tells you what the parameter is going to be called. You bring in your toggle object and you just click this button here and you're done. So the joyous thing about this is if you are going to be building avatars from scratch, like your own avatars, you can come through and say, okay, this is his accessories menu, so I want to make all of the toggles for all of his accessories, and everything goes together right here. So we're going to drag this guy out of my way. Now we can come back into play mode. That's going to be his accessories menu, or did it put it in toggles? Why did it put it in toggles? That is weird. Anyway, corset. All right, I changed my mind. Check this out. So we're going to come back. I made a boo-boo. If I'd have done this on a manual one, I would have had to remake the animation. I ain't got time for all that. So now, Fox just told me with AV3 that when this corset is on, it is supposed to turn on a blend shape. So what we could do is click done, go to blend shape, right here, add module blend shape, and it is going to blend shape his body. So we're going to drag his body in, and then it's going to show us all of those. So we want corset, right? So when this is toggled on, we want that to be at 100%. So now we have the blend shape turned on with it. We're going to click create, give it a second, GestureManager, play mode. As soon as it goes into play mode, I'm going to move this out of the way. Accessories, I made a boo-boo, not in the animation. I thought I'd done something wrong. So if you ever have stuff like this where it looks like it's clipping and it's all gross and it's invisible and we don't like all that, it's because you're materials aren't set up correctly. So what I'm going to do, just to show you how the toggle works, is just throw a random material in here. If you make a bunch, if you're using AV3, make sure that you don't do what I just did and mess up the animation, because it will put it in here multiple times. I'll clean that up. There you go. That's what we're supposed to look like. So it toggles that blend shape on. You can do that for shoes. If you have shoes and you have a foot blend shape, if you're using like most of our males that are big and muscular, when you put shirts on them, you want to suck the chest in a little bit so they don't have clipping. That's how you do that. And let's go ahead and do a quick integer system. So integer systems are set up differently from the beginning. For advanced toggle creator, I'm not actually going to make the animation, but let's say I'll just name this set, right? So if I want to do set, what you can do is come down here, simple toggle, right? So let's say all of his chains. So his oct chain, his hand chain, and his collar. I want all of those to be on one toggle. What I'm going to do is put add module simple toggle. I'm going to push that 3 times, and then I just drag these over. And that's it. And if each one of these things has its own blend shape, you know, you can come down here, you can go to blend shape, you can add in, you know, 3 blend shapes, you know, blah blah blah. Dissolve. This right here, if anything is worth spending the money on this program, it is for their dissolve settings. If you only use it for dissolves, I don't feel like going through and manually making all these dissolves. I know how to do it. I don't like doing it. It's like watching paint dry. So let's say I have 15 things on him, or if I want when I toggle on the chain comes on and off, I want it to dissolve in and out, I would use their dissolve system. It's amazing. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Integer systems. Integer systems are different from the very beginning. So we come over to our parameters. We're going to add a new parameter. Remember over here I said for on and off toggles you want a bool. For integer systems you want this int, and we're going to call this hair. We're going to put his hair on an integer system. Hair and pants is typically what most people like to put on integers. So again, we're going to copy that because I like to copy things. Come to his FX layer, parameters. Again, we're going to add an integer, add that there. We're going to go to layers, add a new layer, call it hair. Don't forget the weight, very important. Now, where we are different on building the animation is for simple on and off toggles. Only need to do it one very specific way. For where you put them both in the same animation, you can't do that with integer systems. They're a little bit more iffy. So I'll explain in a second. So we're going to go into play mode because I don't like bicycle poses or motorcycle poses. So I click him. We're going to go to create. We're going to go into animations, and we're going to call this. We're going to make hair buzz. Now this is where we like to use this add property feature. What we're going to do is we're going to come down through here. This is why when you're in Blender, I highly recommend naming your stuff on where it's supposed to go. Your t-shirts are going to go in tops. You would literally just write tops dash and then what it's called, so that when you get it into Unity, it's very organized. It makes making your animation so much easier. What we're going to do is we're going to drop all of this hair down. He only has 4 hairs, and these little buttons here that say is active, we're going to control click is active, and then you're going to right click it and then add properties. So when you do animations using the add property method, it's going to add these other dots over here. We don't want those dots. Those dots are annoying. They get in our way. They break our animations. We don't care. So this one is called buzzed. So what you're going to do for this one is these little checkboxes mean that that is toggling that object on. So for buzzed, we are going to toggle that object on. It's white because I haven't put a material on it. So now, what I like to do, you can go through and do it this way and make the animation for all 4 of his hairs, or you could be lazy like Sin and you could just come over here to project. So you make that 1, right? And you're going to click hair, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 hairs. So we're going to grab that hair and we're going to go Control D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and change this one. No, I do not want to delete it. We're going to hit F2 on it. We want this one to be, let's do Hera, right? So hair, Hera. So after we rename it, we're going to double click it. You're going to change that buzzed to a 0. That means that that is not active. And you want to change Hera to a 1. Stop using those side numbers. I'm sorry. For toggles, 1s and 0s. 1 is active, 0 is off. If you're doing blend shapes this way, 0 is off, 100 is maxed out. Just so you know for future reference. So that is Hera, so hair. We're going to make his locks. We're going to click that. I'm going to use my other numbers this time. There we go. We're going to set buzz to 0 and locks is going to go to 1. Then we go back to project. And then our very last one, we're going to hit F2. And the last one is his mullet. All right, so we're on the last thing here. Oh, I'm going to use my num key again. This is his mullet, so we're going to set the buzz again to 0, change his mullet to a 1. Cool, so we've done all of that. So now we have our mullet, our locks, our hair, and our buzz. Now you're like, what do I do with this? I made the animation send. What do I do now? That's why I'm here. So we're going to go back over here to the FX layer, and we're going to go back to that layer that we called hair. This is where we get a little funny, but bear with me here. Which hair do we want on by default? His locks?
Locks are his default.
Okay, so we're going to bring that one in first. The rest of them don't really matter. It's completely up to you on how you want to do it. So we're going to go locks, we're going to go hair, we're going to go mullet, and then we're going to go bust. So what you're going to do from here is, remember what I said earlier, anytime that your thing is bright orange, that means that is your default layer. What we're going to do for integer systems from here is come over here to any state, and we're going to make a transition to each one of these guys here, just like that. So now, remember those settings that we had set up here earlier? We're going to go do it one more time. Additions, you're going to find that hair, and you want this to be equals. Hair equals whatever here. So default is going to be 0. The reason that we do integer systems is so that there's never a point in time when your avatar is bald or they're pantsless, unless you want them to be bald or pantsless. But this way, he has something on his head all the time. So for the first one is going to be a 0. Integers work in number systems, so we're going to copy those. So remember, locks is 0, so the next one is going to be 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste those again. Hair equals 1 for the hair. For this one, we're going to click it. We're going to paste both. Hair equals 2. And then we're going to come to this one, paste both. Hair equals 3. And then what I like to do is, you can either screenshot this and post it somewhere so you remember what order it is if you have the memory of a goldfish. Another thing you can do that's a lot of fun, any of these windows that you have pulled up, so your inspector tab, your tab down here, your hierarchy, whatever, you can come up here and click this beautiful lock button. Now, no matter what I do, this window is not going anywhere. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to his main menu. Let's make him a hair menu, because again, I like things to be organized. So while we're there, we have 4 hairs. We're going to add 4 controls. Drop down, beautiful. So this is going to be his locks, hair, mullet, buzz. Then we're going to set these to toggles. Make sure they are toggles. If you do a button, it's going to turn his hair on for a split second, and then it's going to turn back off, and it's going to be annoying. So here's where we have to remember those numbers. We're going to come down here to hair int, and his locks we set as 0, and then his hair we set as 1. The mullet we set as 2, and the buzz cut we set as 3. And that's how you set them up for the integer systems. Now let me go to his main menu, and we throw that in there. Well, let's go check them out, right? You can set up an integer system for pretty much everything. So again, keep in mind he has default shaders on his hair. It looks like crap. That's not what we're here. So he has his locks. There's his hair, his mullet, and his buzz cut. So what this does is, no matter what buttons I push, he will never be bald. The hairs will not overlap with each other. So another fun thing with integers is, if you are on the mullet and you want to go back to default, you can just click the mullet again. And this works for any integer system. So if you have like a pair of pants that you want to be the default pair of pants, you set that as your default, and then if you push the button again, it'll set it back to default. But now there's going to be no overlaps. He is beautiful. Also, that hair is majestic. Look at this. Fox did a great job. It's majestic. And that is integer systems. I could post this link. Combo Gestures is great. So I'm not going to download it, but you can view it on GitHub. When you do that, you want to download the latest version. It's how I do my gestures. You can do them manually, but this way is just so much easier. So we bring it in. It says nothing to import because it's already here. Hi, there it is. Okay, so you're going to come to the folder that says hi, H-A-I. combo gestures, and you want this one that says ComboGestureExpressions, and you're just going to pull it up. It doesn't have to be connected to him, onto his body. It just has to be in your hierarchy. And then it's going to ask you what your avatar that you want is. So we're going to go ahead and bring him over. Beautiful. We're going to turn this to right defaults on the FX playable mode. It's going to ask you what your FX layer is. So we're going to put that on Anubis FX. That's how you set that up. And then we're going to come over here to smiling. We're going to click open editor. And then we are going to click visual expression editor. What I like to do is pull all this up top. I like my things to be organized. And the same thing, you're going to pull him in and click update. And then you go here. This is what it's going to give you. So this is for combo gestures. It is free. I highly recommend it. You're going to come up here. So if you want combo gestures, it'll tell you what they do. So if you make a fist on both hands and left and right triggers, fist and open, blah, 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 whatever. Most people just like one or the other. So we're going to do left hand only. We're going to make his idle animation. So we click create. It'll give you a blank screen. Then you're going to come to your editor and click update. So this is what you're looking for up here. You can rename these, but it'll say CGE new animation. And then when you come over here, you're editing that animation. So we're going to come down. Okay, so essentially the way this works, I will just go ahead and leave this one blank. So let's make an angry. Go back to expressions editor. I am editing his fist, which for fist I usually like to do angry. So the way that this program works, you come through and pick whatever you want. So we want eyes mad. Let me get a little closer. The way this works, if you want to get closer, is it just uses your camera here. So you can get in there on him. You know, it looks great. There we go. And then we're going to update. So eyes mad, mouth mad. You can set everything to 100. So let's say that this is what we want for angry, right? You can set these to whatever. So let's say on eyes mad that you think 75 is like the bee's knees. We'll set it on 75, whatever. Once you're done with all of that, all you have to do is come back here. You've made all of your gestures. All of this is filled. It's beautiful. I love it. It's exactly what I want. All you'd have to do when you're finished, I'm not going to do it on him because I haven't finished, is you're going to come to your ComboGestureExpressions folder. Once everything is done, all you have to do is come to right here where it says Synchronize Animator FX Layers. So instead of going through and adding everything manually, I can show you how to do that if you don't want to use the program. Essentially the way you would do that is we're going to go into play mode. I'll show you the basics. So let's just create a new, I don't know, let's say idle, right? We're going to make an idle animation. This is how we started. Make sure that you were clicked on your model and not on something else, because I was about to make an animation for something. So you want it to make sure that it says whatever your model is. So we're going to add property. For the head, you want to click his head, and then there's this button right here that's this drop down that says skinned mesh renderer. So what you're going to do is click the first one that says blend shape dot. This one says blend shape dot ah, and then you're going to scroll down. You want all the blend shapes until you get to these ones that say VRC dot. Do not use VRC blend shapes down here for your gestures. It will break your and then you're just going to shift click. That'll highlight everything, add properties. So the way this is going to work is, where's my guy? You're going to click preview, and then the manual way of doing it is if you come through here, let's say, I don't know, I want to see what bite lip looks like. We'll set that to 100. Let's say that while he's biting his lip, I want him to, let's see, to blink left, so it looks like he's winking, right? See, there we go. We could set that to 100. And you just go through and set everything to whatever values that you want. Then you go from there. So after you've done your animations that way, so for all 8 of the gestures, including your idle, you would then come to your FX layer. Oh, see, because I made a fresh FX layer, it doesn't have it. You're essentially going to want to make a gesture layer. The way I normally do that is go to your 3.0 manager. Again, I don't advise using this. I like using the combo gestures, but if you want to do it this way, what you would do is come to your FX layer, and then remember I told you that you don't put the gesture in the gesture layer, that it breaks things. You're going to add the gesture here to his FX layer. So I'll go ahead and add it, and then I'll just delete them because I want to show you guys what that looks like. So now when I go to his FX layer, So all of those animations, we want to put them on his left hand. So we'll click left hand. It's going to give you all of his signs. So his idle, fist, open, point, peace, rock and roll, gun, just like that. So what you would do is click his idle, and then whatever animation you made for idle, you would just drop into the motion for idle. His fist, for open, you would just drop the animations that you made into that section right there, if you're doing it the manual way. So that is the way that I do it when I was making them manually. I don't like making them manually, but Combo Gestures is where it's at. You can also duplicate the SDK hands layer and rename that to FX. Avatar sample, AV3 demo asset. Oh, that is going to be in your sample stuff down here. If you want to do that in your packages, you're always going to have your right here. So it should be SDK base. Oh, avatars, samples, demo assets. So if you come down here, if you saw how I did that, you scroll down to packages, SDK avatars, samples, demo assets. You'll have it in controllers. There'll be a gesture layer, oh, hands layer right there. You can do it that way as well. I'm lazy. I like to do it where you just pull Gogo, the Gogo gesture layer in because it has what you need, but you can do it either way. And then that is it for your basics. So that is your on and off toggles, your materials, your integers, and your gestures. The anchor override, typically it will just ask me if I want to auto fix. Anchor override, typically they will ask you if you want to auto fix. I know there's ways to fix it, but I'm not a super huge expert. Bounding boxes, if you've ever been in VRChat and you look down and suddenly your shoes have disappeared, or somebody looks at you a certain way and your shirt disappears, that is what's called bounding boxes. So that is this white box right here. And see how small this is? What we like to do is click on them over here in your hierarchy, and then come to your inspector tab, and there's this little Christmas tree looking thing. And you're just going to click edit bounds. And what that'll let you do is grab these bubbles, these little dot boys, and you just want to pull them away from the body. You want to imagine that your model is in a display case and you don't want any part of them to be sticking out of the display case. Essentially, you just want to take everything and put them inside of a beautiful display case. See, and then another thing that you could do is you can see how all these are all over the place. What you can do is come through here, and you can actually multi-edit these as well, like that. I'll see how his hand is sticking out of the display case. We don't like that. What I did before I rudely changed my scene again, I need to fix that for next class. You can multi-edit these things. So we're gonna go body mods, and we're gonna go all the way down. And if I click edit bounds, normally when you click edit bounds, it'll show you all those little windows. You don't have to see the windows. So what we're gonna do is just click that top one, shift click the bottom. That's going to highlight everything. Come over here for center. We're going to put zeros there. That's going to center everything on your body. And then extent, we like the number 1, so we're going to set all those to 1. Now when I go through and look at his locks, see how his head is sticking out just a little bit? Probably should have went a little higher on that. But beautiful display case. No part of him is sticking out of the display case, which means that no matter where they're looking at you at, you will have all of your clothing where it's supposed to be. Very, very important stuff. Oh, Pyshbones, that is a very good basic. So, you got your model in here, and you have these beautiful long locks. These are beautiful. I love these, but if I put him in a game like this, they are going to stay like this. They're not going to move.
He gonna be real stiff.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, anytime you're adjusting Pyshbones, we're going to come right here to where it says armature. And then we're going to go down through his list. So armature, hips, spine, chest, neck, head. So if he's got a tail, that is going to be probably mostly in your hips. If he's got something attached to a leg, it's going to be in your leg bone. Just think about where the items is. Like if you have a chain hanging from your belt and it's supposed to be attached to your leg, you would go there. What we're going to do is, I don't know which one of these hair roots is for this one, but for all intents and purposes, we're just going to use this hair root. So you're going to click on that one that says hair root. If it doesn't say hair root and it looks like this, you can right click in here and go to create empty, like so. Oh, That warning that it just gave me, let me show you that again. Oh, no, it's not going to do it, right? Oh, there we go. Chosen of a prefab cannot be deleted or moved. That's because everything is blue. I forgot to unpack everything. First thing you want to do is just come through here, right click, unpack prefab. You want it to be white. So now I've made this empty game object. We're going to pretend that he doesn't have a hair root. You can make an empty game object, hit F2, call it hair root, and then you can drag all of these bones into that empty. But the lovely Fox knows to put hair roots into things in Blender for me, so we already have that. If you don't use a hair root one, the new SDK prefers to have roots. That's going to be for your butt wiggle, your boobie wiggle, your hair, anything that jiggles needs to have a root. And also, if you just come through here and you select these and put Pyshbones on this, it's going to be severely unoptimized because your computer is having to process the Pyshbones that many times, whereas if you put it on just the hair root itself, it only has to process it that one time. We're going to delete that empty that I made because we don't need it. So, click on hair root, add component. We want to type in Pyshbones. You want to use the VRC Pyshbones. And then it's going to give you all these numbers. These, go into play mode and wiggle them around, play with them, play with some of these settings. Your pull is how quickly does it come back to this default setting here. The spring is how springy it comes back. Gravity is pretty obvious. A mobile is how stiff is it. Limits, that's going to put like angle limits like that, so it can only move within that cone. And then your collision. So we want colliders. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave these settings like they are, just for teaching purposes. And then we're going to come to collision. So on your radius, this is what makes it so that if anybody comes up and touches your hair, they will actually do stuff with it. This is pretty much the size of your Pyshbones that you want for hair. You want it to pretty much encapsulate the hair itself. For butts and breast, you want them to be about the same size as the diameter around here. And then Squishbones. Squishbone update, I haven't gotten it to quite work right. It's really, really weird. I don't even turn it on. And then grab and pose. Grabbing is nice if you want people to come up and grab your hair. Posing is if they grab your hair and move it, it'll stay in that position for a short amount of time. I don't like that. I always turn it off. We're going to copy that component. If you're playing with these settings in play mode, make sure that you, while still in play mode, copy that component, because remember what I said, if you're in play mode, nothing you do saves. So then we're going to come through here and we're going to click these other guys. And you're going to right click up here on transform and paste component as new. Now let's see how majestic his locks are. Once we go into play mode, all of these little colliders are in my way. I want to be able to see what he looks like. There's a button right here that says gizmos. That will turn all of that off. Now, look at that. Majestic. And these are default settings. So default settings, if you don't know what you're doing, you can just leave hair on default settings and it's going to be pretty great. Alright, and the most important question, if you are an avatar creator, or you're making an avatar that you want to sell, this is not just something you're going to come to your SDK and click builder and export to your account. You're making an avatar for a friend. It's not one that you bought that's leaking, that's illegal. I have made this avatar. I want to put it up on my shop for sale because he's beautiful, he's finished, look how good his hair looks. What you're going to do is come to your assets folder. Make sure that you're in the folder that says assets. If you're in any other folder, it will not pull everything over. Your customers are going to be mad. They're going to leave bad reviews. People will cry. So in your assets folder, you're going to right click and you're going to click export package. And then we're going to give it just a minute. It's going to load everything up. Now, remember we brought in all of these extra tools in the beginning. So for me, I have AV3 Creator. I can't send that with the package. It's illegal. I have another program for DPS called Fluff's Toolbox. I can't send that with the package. It's illegal. Rawliv's Dynamic Penetration System. I can't send that. ComboGesture. So none of the tools that I brought in, I can send. What we're going to do is we're going to go down this list here. And we're going to look at all of his stuff. So all of his materials and stuff, we want them to go. Those are great. Poyomi shaders, I do not send Poyomi shaders. So we're going to just uncheck Poyomi shaders. AV3 creator, we're going to uncheck that because that's not going with the package. We want to keep all of those animations. Etheri Twistbones setup, if you were running either my base or a panda base, I'll show you how to use Etheri. It's a 2-second thing, but that can't go with the package, so we're going to go ahead and turn that off. We can't send fluffs. Gogo, send with the package. It can be sent with it. Raw lives. So anyway, you go through anything you don't want to send, you just uncheck. Then you're going to click export. It'll ask you where you want to save it. You're going to save it as Anubis package, right? I'm not actually going to do it because he's definitely not ready. I'm not selling him like this. And then you just click save, and it's going to do some loading screens. And then when it's done, you can just go into that folder where you exported to, and it'll have a little Unity symbol like you guys are used to seeing, and that is what you'll put on your shop or send to your friend. If you have multiple models, do you want to export them all in one package or the other? If you like, for me, I have both of the models that are going to go with this package, or that came in with this package, so Anubis and Basset. I do not want them to be in the same exported package. So all you would do is when you pull that little window over here up. So essentially, if there's things that are on one model that you, there we go. So this folder here, again, organization. It's a beautiful thing, right? So I made an entire folder for this guy right here, Anubis. He's a beautiful Egyptian god. And then there's another folder for Bastet that is also in the package. So I don't want any of her stuff to go with him, so I'm just going to uncheck that box. That is why organization is very, very important. Otherwise, you're going to have to come through and you're going to have to read through all of this, and we don't have time to read. So we don't read. We organize as soon as we're pulling things in. As you're pulling in your materials, your prefabs, as soon as you pull your first thing in, go ahead and make a thing for each one of your folders for where everything goes. So when you export it, it is so much easier. Because see, for me, I could just click models and I can come through and just turn her off. And then when I go to export her, I don't want him. I can just turn him off. Easy peasy. Yes, if you're selling a couple set, you can do them both at the same time. That is perfectly fine. Or if you're releasing like some of our other models, we have a DPS package and a non-DPS package. Or if we have a full version and an Opti version, you can put those in the same package. It's fine. It's just if you want them separately, you would just toggle off the one that you don't want to send with the package. So always make sure when you pull them in that, like, she's already done it for me, but when you first pull your FBX in, it's going to show up in your assets window. Put it where it goes. So see, like, here's Anubis's folder. His FBX is in that folder. So then when we go to export, I'll only have to turn off his folder and nothing will go. Because you don't want to send a package out and he's not supposed to be in the package, but you accidentally exported him. If you've ever bought an avatar, you know the order that you have to bring things in. It's the exact same order for when you're making a model. You need to make sure that you're bringing in your shaders, all of your tools, anything that you need to build your model, you need to bring it in before you bring the FBX in. Because the worst thing you want to do is pull this model up here and you're getting ready to work on him and you forgot to bring your shaders in. 90% of the time it'll be fine. They'll be pink. You'll go, oh, I forgot my Poyomi. You'll pull Poyomi in and it'll auto load. Sometimes they will break and say internal error shader, and then you have to go through and click all 65 of their materials and click the drop down and put it back on Poyomi. It's a lot of work. And then the last thing that I wanted to go over, if you have a panda base, male or female, or if you're using a Mamachi base, so the Senpai base or the Foxy base, I recommend a tool called Etheri Twistbones setup. So I'm sure you've seen in Blender that all these models have all of the weird little bones that are called twist bones. Don't set them up manually. This is another free tool. It's great. All you have to do, oh, I almost dragged the model in. For this one, you only want to drag in the model's armature, and then click this button and it says successful, and that's it. Now if I come through, let's go to his leg. Here we go, twist leg. It's going to automatically put the rotation constraint settings and everything for that bone on there for you. Thank you for coming and hanging out.